Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mr. Death Breath, ready spoiler for film reviews, sometimes celebrity interviews. If you're new here, or if you've been here and haven't hit the like, subscribe, and post notifications button, I'll wait until you do that. Okay, so you did it, good. Alright, so Hansel and Gretel, 2020's version, or is it Gretel and Hansel? Honestly, I didn't look at the picture, or poster more specifically, but I'm gonna call it Hansel and Gretel, starring Sophia Lillis from It. So where do we begin? Oh, that's right. We begin with the good. Okay, so the good. What I really enjoyed about it is this film had great atmosphere. They would show distance in the woods and you'd see a low saturation of the trees and the fog, and it would just look like this very terrifying area. In addition, it also had a really wonderful thing that they did where the score was very much synth inspired. So you'd hear like single notes being held out, like a boom, that just conveyed the sense of dread throughout the film. So now let's get to the meat and potatoes. Wait, we're at the meat and potatoes. Well, let's get to the meatier part of the potatoes. Ignore it. Okay, so the bad. Oh gosh. The bad. So how do we begin here? Okay, so let's start by just being Sophia Lillis. Okay, Sophia Lillis did a fantastic job in It Chapter 1, okay? Hansel and Gretel, she does the same thing she did, okay? I understand she's 17 years old, she has a long way to go, but it was a very uninspiring performance. It may as well have been Sophia Lillis playing Sophia Lillis. It didn't seem like she put any effort into this role specifically, it's just more girl lost in the woods, Hansel and Gretel. And that's just the beginning. The story itself, really, it could have been more inspired. They could have done something different. But what they did was just bad. You're watching this film, you're wondering, okay, when is it going to take shape? When is it going to get interesting? And then when it starts to get interesting, it starts losing steam. It starts losing what made it interesting. And ultimately, it's like the equivalent of kicking a ball, and it's rolling fast, and as it's rolling, it starts kind of slowly rotating, and the rotations are getting less and less, and it kind of just stops at the other person's feet, right? That's what this kind of felt like. It felt like it had an interesting start, and it just kind of went nowhere. And understand, don't at me, please. Don't be like, you haven't read Hansel and Gretel. This isn't about that. We're talking about this movie. And it just wasn't good. It didn't go anywhere. The climax, if you even want to call it that, was barely a climax. It did have a few jump scares here and there that were semi-okay, and some scary moments, but overall, it doesn't make up for a lackluster film. I mean, when it comes down to it, if you're going to tell a story, you have to have, or make a movie, or make anything, you have to have a good story with good characters. And of course the characters were, you know, known characters from Grimm's Fairy Tale, if I'm not mistaken, but the story just wasn't there. It's like they didn't know if they wanted to make an interesting movie about someone becoming, or a movie that kind of played off the old Hansel and Gretel story, and this really never knew what it wanted to be. And it's disappointing, because it should have been a home run. They could have really made it something fun and unique. So, as always, let's bury this, let's give it a rating. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is Hansel and Gretel? Hansel and Gretel is a 3 out of 10. It was awful. It was a waste of time. How do you go wrong? It should be a knockout of the park. But poor acting, virtually weak, no direction story, it just ended up being a film you don't want to see. If you do feel the urge to watch this film, I would say go and pay a couple dollars on YouTube, but I don't recommend seeing this in theaters because you'll be walking out going, huh, why did I watch that? Guys, thank you as always for your support, and as always, I'll see you soon.